Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Om Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamaya Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om, salutations to all. Welcome back to Srimad Bhagavatam. We were on Canto 4, and in that we saw there are different aspects, the four Purusharthas, Artha, Kama, so Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha are going to be described. And we were in the prasang of Lord Shiva and Mother Sati and the Daksha sacrifice. So we saw that Daksha felt as though Lord Shiva has insulted him, and by not getting up when Daksha entered, and Daksha ill-treated him, and there was a great commotion. That was a different ritual, and in that Lord Shiva finally left quietly. That episode ends there, and then Lord Shiva, then Daksha is promoted as the main Prajapati of all the other Prajapatis, amongst all other Prajapatis. So he is doing Brihat Savana Yajna. In that he does not invite Lord Shiva. Mother Sati, she is seeing lot of devatas and others going to that Daksha sacrifice. She implores Lord Shiva, let us also go. Lord Shiva explains to her also why they have not been invited, but she insists. So Lord Shiva says, you can go ahead. And he ensures that the Ganas, etc., go with her, and she is taken care of on the way. Everything is safe and she is secure. And she reaches Daksha's sacrifice. There she understands that there was no place reserved for Lord Shiva. Even the ahutis that are offered, the portion that should be allocated to all the devatas, especially Lord Shiva, was not allocated. Mother, Sati's mother, Prasuti, she welcomes her, but Daksha does not welcome. Daksha ignores her, and so finally Sati immolates herself. This portion in chapter 4, book 4, in Canto 4, book 4, verses 24 to 27 are the portion where it is said how Sati leaves the body consciously. 8th chapter of the Gita also gives the same steps. If you see here and there, it is same. How to leave the body consciously by using one's mental powers of concentration and the willpower. One drops the body at will. So here it is, where it is said that she sits down silent on the floor facing the north, and she sipped some water, wrapped herself with a yellow piece of linen, closed her eyes, and she started following the practices by which one leaves the body. And generally, the common men cannot leave the body directing the prana in a specific way to eject out of the body. The pranas of a common person go out through any of the 9 holes in the body, either 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, 2 ears, reproductive evacuating organ. Through any of them, prana will just eject when the karma is over. But great yogis and great devis like Mother Sati, they can eject at will. So here it says, Kritva samana vanila ujitasana sodanamutthapya cha nabhichakrataha shanairhridhi sthapya dhiyo rasi sthitam kanthad dhruvor madhyama ninditanayat. This is the description which you will find even in the 8th chapter of the Gita. So she steadied herself sitting in the cross-legged position, and she brought the prana and apana into equal ratio. And this Udana Vayu, so Udana Vayu is in charge of gathering all the other 4 pranas as well as other sense faculties, as well as mind, intellect, memory, ego. So 5 pranas, 5 senses of knowledge, 5 senses of action, mind, intellect, memory, ego, along with ignorance and vasanas. These 21 aspects, they will eject out of the body. The main force which helps to eject is the Udana Vayu. So this Udana Vayu, that's why it is said, with the forcing the Udana Vayu, the air moves upwards. The Udana Vayu moves upwards from the navel. She held it in the heart, and then here, Bhruvor Madhye. So the Udana Vayu from the navel comes to the heart, then through the throat, comes up to this place. And having brought the mind here, prana here, there in 8th chapter it is said one should remember Bhagavan as Omkar. Here Sati remembers Lord Shiva. And she loses all other awareness of everything, and she is blissfully just meditating on Lord Shiva. And here she is so absorbed in enjoying with her mind the honey of the lotus feet of her Lord, the preceptor of the whole world, that she perceives none else. So the last traces of impurity, that identification that she had, that I am a daughter of Daksha, which is what made her come there. Even though uninvited, she is carrying the identity, I am daughter of Daksha. One may say, what is wrong in that? So functional identity, there is nothing wrong. That's a relative identity one will remember. But it is a psychological identity that she is carrying in her mind, that she defines herself like that. She is the consort of Lord Shiva also, and the daughter of Sati, daughter of Daksha also. And though Lord Shiva explained everything, objectively speaking, she should have understood, saying, no, you are right, let us not go there. But her attachment to her father and her mother and her sisters and her home, all that is still there, because her identity still is I am daughter there. Psychological attachment is still there. So here it is said, she is rid of the last traces of impurity. Dadarsha deho hatakalmasha sati sadya prajajwala samadhi jagnina. Samadhija agnina. And so with deep concentration, she invokes the air and fire element from the body, and it is internal fire, that is the yoga agni. Samadhija agnina means that. Samadhi is a deep state of tranquility, quietude of the mind, absorption of the mind. And in such a mind, the sankalpa, when it comes, that this body has to be immolated, so fire and air both are invoked together, because obviously air is required for combustion for fire. So they invoke both. Body is burnt. She is ablaze with fire produced by deep meditation. Sati immolated, and people are all sitting and watching that. Daksha does not even stop the daughter. So there was a tremendous uproar, whoever saw that, saying that angered by Daksha, goddess Sati, the beloved spouse of the most adorable Lord Shiva, has given up the ghost. Now you see, I had explained last time also, how people's color changes. Earlier, many of them were with Daksha. And even when there was no place kept for Lord Shiva, no offerings set aside for Lord Shiva, other devatas are getting. Nobody questioned. Nobody asked why there is nothing for Lord Shiva. Because everybody wants to be in the favorable books of the people in power. That's the way the samsara works. Whoever has power, don't rub them, don't go and against them, just conform to them. Whatever they say, whatever they do, it is all right. Nobody stood up for Lord Shiva. Nobody stood up saying that what is being done is wrong here. We will not take part here. Through this episode, what is also being conveyed is this fact that a yajna where divinity is not offered, divinity is not remembered, divinity is not invoked, Lord Shiva represents the divine, is a yajna which will boost the ego. And that ego boosting will only lead to destruction. So others also, they were not voicing anything to Daksha, even when he was doing the wrong things. And they took their ahutis, they took. But now that Sati has immolated herself, suddenly their color changes. Now they are saying Daksha is wicked, and because of that, Sati has immolated herself, and his own daughter, Daksha's own daughter it is, and this Daksha does not even prevent his daughter from doing this. What a hard-hearted person he is. See that. Slighted by whom Sati, his own high-souled daughter, gave up her life, Sati ever deserved honor at his hands. Now they are saying that Daksha is jealous in his heart. Soyam durmarsha hridayo brahmadruk cha loke apakirtim mahatim avapsyati. Now in this world he will get lot of bad name, apakirti he will get. Now you just think about it. He was doing this yajna for kirti. And what is the result is apakirti. What is the main objective of the yajna? Completely defeated. Why? Because of this personal ego and strong sense of raga and dvesha. Dvesha that he had for Lord Shiva has destroyed his yajna itself. The kirti that he should get, he is not getting. Ulta is happening. Now he will become more infamous. Becoming famous. So he says here that people possessed of a jealous heart and the enemy of the Supreme Spirit, he will incur great infamy in the world. Yadangajam swam purushad vidudyatam napratya shedhan mritaye paradhataha. Now people will say that he is Shiva hater. He did not forbid his own begotten child when she was preparing to die, because of the so-called ill treatment received from Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva didn't even ill-treat him. This is his perception. Just imagine his own perception and what all has happened. It's not even fact. He could have, in simple way, just gone and asked Lord Shiva, that why did you not get up? Father-in-law is Lord Shiva is son-in-law. That much he can ask. But he assumed Lord Shiva purposely didn't get up and he wanted to insult me, and now all this has happened because of the assumption, just pure plain assumption and no proper communication. Now Sati has given up the body. Everybody is stunned there. Sati immolated herself so quickly. See, in this we are explaining all these shlokas and the meaning, and then prana comes from here to here to here to here, and then thinking of Lord Shiva, and then there it happens quick. Before anybody realizes the fire has already come, Sati is burnt. So, while the people were observing thus, the attendants of Sati, Bhagavan had sent the Ganas, all of them, Vadatyevam jane satya drishtva sutyagamadbhutam daksham tatparshadahantum udatishthannudayudhaha. Now people were seeing this immolation, but the Ganas, they rose up with these weapons to kill Daksha, because how is this possible, and he is responsible. And Ganas were sent by Lord Shiva for her safety. So they all got up. Now looking at them, this Bhrigu Rishi who is there, he poured the oblations in the Dakshinagni, reciting the Yajurveda, and so those mantras will produce beings from the fire who will destroy anybody who is out to destroy the yajna. So now when Bhrigu Rishi was doing that, these ribhus, they came out. These ribhus are the beings who come out of that fire. So this ribhavo nama tapasa somam prapta sahasrashaha. In thousands they came out and they have attained the state of Chandraloka by their penance, etc. So they came out and they bet up these Ganas, and these Ganas had to run from there. All these Pramatha Ganas along with Guhyakas, they had to run away in different directions. They couldn't handle the power of these Ribhus. Now, that is where the 4th chapter ends, and that's where we had stopped. Now we enter the 5th chapter here. Maitreya Rishi, don't forget that. Maitreya Rishi is telling all this to Vidurji. So Maitreya Rishi says that, now just think about it, Naradji, from Naradji Lord Shiva comes to know. Nobody officially has even told him. Daksha also has not sent any messenger there. So from Naradji, Lord Shiva comes to know that Sati has burnt herself to death because Daksha ill-treated her, and also that all the Ganas who were sent, they have been beaten up by these Ribhus and they also could not protect Sati. Now they all ran away. They all were in different directions. They ran away. They couldn't do anything there. So Lord Shiva now, he was very angry. This I said before also, that both of them, see, Lord Shiva gets angry when Sati has been insulted and she has immolated herself. He didn't get angry when he was insulted. And Sati also got upset with Daksha, not because Daksha did not acknowledge her presence and Daksha ignored her, but she felt angry because Lord Shiva's place was not reserved, ahutis were not kept for him, and wantedly he was not invited there. So both of them are upset because the other is ill-treated or insulted. So what is important to understand here is this, these actions, like Lord Shiva, now what he does, you will see, he will bring forth Virabhadra. And what Sati did of immolating herself, both these look destructive actions born of personal vendetta. But the very fact that they have not taken any of, both of them have not taken it personally, is very clearly showing that their actions are not born out of personal vendetta or impulsiveness, or they feel that how could this happen to me, and no, now I'm going to destroy. Nothing like that. No victimization, no personal hurt, personal agenda, and all that. It is for the sake of upholding dharma. And hence Lord Shiva, now he gets angry. So anger, if you see, so when we say anger, we always feel anger is a negative quality and it should be avoided, and why should our gods get angry? And even some rishis, many times they get angry, so they should not have anger at all. So, and we judge spiritual progress based on the control of anger that a person has. People used to ask also, why does sometimes Gurudev get so angry? Now, that's where this is to be very clear about the intention behind that anger. One is a personal anger where I've taken something personally, I feel upset, I feel hurt, I feel, completely taken for granted, all those things, and then I get angry. Or my desire is not fulfilled and some obstacles comes on the way, then I feel angry. That is personal anger, and that personal anger makes us take impulsive decisions, and we lose objectivity in that, and that can harm us and hurt others and destroy relationships, bring negative karma, give us some memories which are not pleasant. Lot of things can happen in that personal anger. In an impersonal anger, it is for the issue, it is for a certain specific purpose, where anger is used as a tool. So one does not become impulsive. One may use anger as a show, or one may use anger to bring about a certain discipline or certain growth. And who will know that? First and foremost, that person who is getting angry will know 100%. If that person is honest, one will know that this is a personal anger or this is an impersonal anger. And by very nature, impersonal anger is that where there is control. So it is not that it comes anytime. This personal anger comes anytime. We have no control. Impulsively, it will come and destroy many things. Personal anger will be invoked, and there will be control in that. And also, it is many times like a appearance, like a show outside. Deep inside, it does not affect that person as much as the personal anger would affect. So here is Lord Shiva, he gets angry, and Kruddha Sudashtoshtha Utah Sad Dhurjatihi Jatam Tadid Vanhi Satogra Rochisham. So he bit his lips. Dhurjati, that's the name here. He has lot of jata. Dhurjati, that's his name. So biting his lips in great anger, from his matted locks, he pulled out one, and he, strikes it on the ground. And this jata is bright like a flash of lightning or a flame of fire. And Bhagavan gets up at once and he laughed with a deep roar. All this makes us aware it is an impersonal anger, because in anger suddenly you can't laugh. If it's a personal anger, one has felt insulted, hurt, violated, all that. It's an impersonal anger meant for a particular leela. So he gets up, he laughs, and then he strikes it on the ground, and from that Virabhadra is born. Now the Virabhadra is huge. Virabhadra is an Amsha avatar of Lord Shiva. So there are different avatars, different types of avatars. One of the types of avatar is Amsha avatar, where one part of Bhagavan's glory or his teja or his his power will manifest. Only one part, right? One infinitesimal part will manifest for a specific purpose and again merge in the Lord. So Virabhadra is like that. It will come ahead. Virabhadra is an Amsha avatar. So he comes out, he is a huge person with, they say here that his height, he was touching the skies, possessed with 1,000 arms, dark like a cloud. He has 3 eyes, bright as the sun, fierce teeth, matted hair, shining like flaming fire, wore a garland of skulls, armed with various uplifted weapons. This is Virabhadra's description. Now he folds his hands and prays to Lord Shiva. Tam kim karomiti grinantamaha baddhanjalim bhagavan bhutanathaha daksham sayajnam jahimad bhatanam tvamagrani rudra bhatam shakome. So he prays to Lord Shiva saying, please command me, what should I do? Now Lord Shiva says, you are my Amsha, Bhatam Shakome. Rudra Bhatam Shakome. You are an Amsha of me. I'm the Rudra. You are my Amsha, O Rudra. So Virabhadra is also one Rudra. So he says, you are my Amsha and you have to lead the warriors in a war against Daksha and you have to destroy his sacrifice and him. All. Daksham sa yajnam jahi. You must kill Daksha, destroy his sacrifice. Now somebody says, what an inauspicious thing to do. Yajna is so auspicious and it's a spiritual ritual and sattvic ritual. And then Bhagwan himself is saying to his attendant that go and destroy this yajna and kill this Daksha. And still, how can you say it is an impersonal anger? You will see as the Leela proceeds why this is happening. See, what happens is even a spiritual practice, if it is breeding adharma, it has to be destroyed. That's the point here. If a spiritual practice is going to bring about more and more ego and go against God, the purpose of the yajna is to propitiate the Lord, surrender our ego, experience the oneness with the divine. The foundation of yajna is selflessness, that is yajna bhavana. The foundation of the yajna is dedication to Bhagavan. Foundation of the yajna is it will purify the mind, prepare the mind to realize the Supreme Brahman. Now all those are not there in this yajna. Plus ego boosting is there, insult to the Lord is there, insult to the power of Bhagavan also is there. Sati also was insulted, Bhagavan already is insulted. Now what is the purpose of a yajna where Purusha and Prakriti both are insulted? Then what yajna it is? For what? For whom? It's not a yajna anymore. Because all the principles of a yajna are already violated. Now, just because mantras are being chanted and rishis are there, devatas are there, does not mean that that yajna is sacred. If Daksha had got away with this, not to have punished Daksha and not to have destroyed that yajna would have been adharma. And that will set a wrong example. Because if Daksha can do this, now remember he is in a higher position. He is the highest now. Of all the Prajapatis, he is the highest. That's what happened. That was the occasion why this yajna was being conducted. So when this person at the top, Meaning he is not at the top of one company or a group of companies or a country. He is the top person in the entire creation. Now that person, it becomes adharmic, it will trickle down to everyone. And if that person gets away with it, then where is dharma in the entire creation after that? So Daksha's yajna had to be destroyed. Because the foundation of yajna no more was there, dharma was no more there, Brahma was not there. Brahma means Supreme Lord Shiva. I'm not meaning Brahmaji. So Purusha, Brahman, Supreme Lord, insulted Lord Shiva, insulted the mother Sati, that's Prakriti also. All foundations of yajna gone. Then what is the point? So Bhagavan said, go and destroy that yajna. Now, when Bhagavan said this, Virabhadra does pradakshina of Lord Shiva and he goes. Now remember, Virabhadra also knows that those ribhus are there, and these ribhus have, they have driven away these other Pramatha Ganas of Lord Shiva. But he has faith in his strength in the Lord. So he says, any powerful beings may be there, we will fight, we will win. Now he thundered most terribly, lifting his trident, which was capable of destroying even death. He ran towards the sacrifice of Daksha, followed by the attendants. Many other Ganas also have come with him, and they all are roaring violently. The anklets about his ankles are making a jingling sound. Now this yajna is still going on. Huh? Now just think about that. Look at that Daksha's mind. Sati has immolated herself. People will be in sorrow. When somebody dies in a family, for 1 year one will not do any celebration of festivals, etc. And one will do Shraddha every month, and one will observe that period which will be helpful to the departed Jiva to proceed ahead in their journey. Because our 1 year is only 1 day for them. Here the daughter has immolated herself. He is the cause for it. And he is continuing the yajna. Now that's what I'm saying, that where is the basic dharma only is not there in this yajna now. He is continuing the yajna. And others are also sitting there and doing. After saying all this about Daksha, look at the minds. How much one is a victim, no, I should not say victim, a slave. How much one is a slave to being in the good books of the people in power. After saying all this, that Daksha will get a bad name and Daksha did not even prevent his daughter, all that, they are still sitting there for the yajna. Yajna is going on. Is that not pathetic? There should be some stand in one's life. Just because somebody is in power, one can't be blind, have blind allegiance to that person. Our allegiance is to dharma. If our allegiance is not to dharma, if it is to a person, that person should be completely anchored in dharma. And if that person is swerving from dharma, we don't have to follow that person just because that person has some power or some authority. This requires two things. One is clarity in thinking about what is dharma and adharma. Second is the inner strength to stick to the path of dharma and to move away from adharma. Because the karma we will incur by doing adharma or associating with someone doing adharma, we have to face the karma. Their choice, if we conform to that choice, we have to face that karma. What is demonstrated by Yuyutsu in Mahabharat war is this. Very clearly he demonstrates this. Great people like Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya, none of them are able to do this. Yuyutsu it does this. Just before the war, a call is given. If anybody wants to shift sides, they can do that even now. So from Kaurava's side, is Yuyutsu walks out, goes to the Pandava's side. Imagine the courage this person has, the clarity this person has. In front of 18 Akshauhini Senas, in that main people, big people like Bhishma, Drona, all of them, plus all his brothers. And his Yuyutsu has the clarity and he has the conviction. Now somebody may say he was very selfish and he ditched his brothers last minute. He didn't ditch the brothers. The brothers have ditched dharma. And he has ditched those who have ditched dharma. So he has ditched adharmic people, which is dharma, which is not wrong. To be in support of adharmic people is adharma. Or being in support of a dharmic person who is right now doing adharma is also adharma only. How much ever great righteous that person may be, if that particular action is adharmic, it is adharmic. Just because that person has been dharmic throughout does not make that one act of adharma justified. And here Kauravas have been adharmic from the beginning. Now imagine his clarity. He walks out from there. He says, nothing, I am going that side. Because my commitment is to dharma. Now my commitment is not to people. People come and people go, and who is there with us to face our karma? We only have to face our karma. Nobody else is there to face our karma. So it's not a question of selfishness. To follow dharma requires strength, clarity. Selfish people cannot follow dharma because the path of dharma is difficult. Path of adharma is very easy, comforting. And majority falls for that. So if they say that this person is selfish who walks out from the Kaurava side, they don't have clarity, nor do they have strength. They can sit and just pass some judgmental comments, but they don't understand what is the reference, what is the clarity, and what is the strength required to do this. Numbers don't matter to a person who is dharmic. He didn't think that my 99 brothers versus I alone. That means I may be wrong, maybe they are right, maybe I should just conform to them. That's the power of clarity. When he understood very clearly this is adharmic, and last minute he was able to summon up courage saying, "Bas, now this is the final call which has come, now I have to answer that call." He went. It didn't matter whether 99 of them what they believe. What I believe, I stand up for that. And what I believe is not my selfish belief, it is dharma. That we have to be very clear. That's why I'm saying again and again, this is clarity of thought and inner strength, both. And that strength also comes from clarity. People may say that he was selfish. That strength is required to ignore those comments also. Strength is required to stand alone. Strength is required to have that courage to say that, yes, what I believe in, I am going to stand up for that. I will not compromise. Others may be, the numbers may be whatever against me, but truth is one. If it means I have to stand alone, I will stand alone. That is called strength. That is the power of truth also, and that is the power of dharma. A person who has dharma on their side will be very strong. Internally, that person cannot be shaken. Our problem is we don't follow dharma uncompromisingly, so we don't feel the strength of dharma, and we feel we are followers of dharma, we are so weak. Because we don't have the courage to face the truth and to stand by the truth. And those who don't have the courage to face the truth and stand by the truth will be wiped out. That's what will happen. Kauravas wiped out or not? Daksha sacrifice wiped out, finished. And who will wipe them out? People who stand by dharma and whose duty it becomes, like this Kshatriyas here or this Ganas of Lord Shiva here, it is their duty, they will wipe them out. The dharmic forces will wipe out the adharmic forces, how much ever number adharmic forces may be. That's why the dharma vivek has to be very clear. And that is why dharmic people also must have power. They cannot just say, become, the misunderstanding of dharma will make them powerless if they don't understand dharma properly. Dharma doesn't say don't fight at all. That ahimsa is paramo dharma full time. Ahimsa is param dharma in a certain context, and that is an instruction given to brahmanas. It is not an instruction given to kshatriyas. If kshatriyas keep saying ahimsa is param dharma, we will never fight, then adharma only will spread everywhere. So dharmic people also must have power and strength. They cannot say that no, we will do what we want to do and this is dharma and we don't need any power, we don't need any strength, Bhagwan will protect us. All those are wrong arguments. Bhagwan is only protecting you through the dharmic forces which are there with you. How many kings have fought in our country against those invaders who came? Dharmic forces, fighting against the adharmic forces. If those kings were not there, we would not even be living the Hindu culture today. So if a person thinks that the Vedas and spirituality preaches non-violence at all times to all people in all situations, that is their stupidity. They have not understood only what the Veda is trying to say. Non-violence is important in a context, for certain people, for certain adhikaris. Even our body fights or not. So many viruses and bacteria and germs, they continuously attack. Our body fights. Tell your body to become non-violent and let us see if 1 minute you can live. It is not possible only. So dharma and violence cannot go together is a wrong understanding. Dharma, to protect dharma where violence is required, it is required. And dharmic people only have to do it to protect dharma, because adharmic people will not do it. They will want to destroy dharma. Why I am saying this again and again is from history we have not learnt our lessons. So many people still don't understand that there is an existential threat to Sanatana Dharma. They don't understand. They dismiss it in names of propaganda, political, these are just some political moves and movements, and this is propaganda. How many people are saying that about Kashmiri Hindus and what they went through? It's all propaganda. No, they didn't fight enough. If they had put up enough fight, they would not have been like this. You can sit in your armchair and drink a cup of coffee and coolly pass a statement. You don't know what has happened. How many people have died there? How many people have fought there? What happened in 1990 was the 7th Exodus. Not even Exodus, it was genocide. And that is happening continuously in other parts of the country even today. But we are closing our eyes and we are not seeing it. For a Ram Navami procession, there was a violence. They were not allowed for Ram Navami procession. Hindu New Year, people have thrown bricks on them. And this is the so-called peaceful community. And we still don't want. We still want to maintain that thought process only, that all religions are saying the same thing, everybody is equal, everybody is equal. Only we are saying that. I'm not talking about branding everybody of every other religion wrongly and incite violence and all that. I'm saying open the eyes and see the fact. That's all I'm saying. And understand what is happening around. And support those forces which help in protecting dharma. Don't go by some stupid hearsay and just keep saying this is propaganda, this is political, this is that, this party is promoting themselves. Hello, open the eyes and look at country, look at dharma, look at the bigger picture. What is important is that. Otherwise, you and I will not be there. The existential threat is there to us also. And our children will not have the freedom to practice our dharma. At that time, then we will keep saying what God came, no God came to protect us. So many ways in which Bhagavan keeps giving messages and telling us, sending people and demonstrating through their life and sacrifice. How many people have given up their lives, even today giving up to protect our dharma. If we are able to practice our dharma, we don't know the quiet sacrifices that people are making across the country, across the world also, to ensure that Hindus are safe. How many of our Hindu brothers, sisters are doing that? We don't know that. So it's very important to understand these aspects. Here, Virabhadra, he takes the army and he goes. And Lord Shiva has sent, saying, now go and destroy. Because complete adharma is happening there. And these people were sitting there continuing the yajna after Daksha, after Sati has immolated herself. So they suddenly see this from the north side, there's a lot of dust which is rising. So now when they see that, look at the thoughts which are going in their mind. So it is said that those assembled there and all the other Brahmanas and their wives thought, what can this darkness be? From where has this dust come? Winds are not blowing and there are certainly no robbers, because Prachin Barhi Raja is ruling with iron fist, so robbers cannot be there. And cows are not being taken back, brought back quickly from the grazing fields. So from where is this cloud of dust coming? Oh, is the world going to get destroyed? Now they are thinking any of that. Nobody is thinking that it can be the result of what has happened there, that Sati immolated herself. That is the insensitivity there. It doesn't affect them, so they continue the yajna. And they are not even considering that in a thought process, that this whole dust that they are seeing on the northern side can be an army which is coming to attack us because a wrong thing has happened here. Now, Prasuti and the other ladies, Prasuti is the mother of Sati. They think this. Now, this is the difference in thinking. So, Prasuti and the other ladies, meaning the sisters and other relatives who welcomed Sati, they are saying this is nothing but the evil consequence of the wrong perpetrated by Daksha, who before the very eyes of his other daughter slighted his innocent daughter Sati. Or it may be the fruit of offense committed against Sri Rudra, meaning this Sati's immolation also is an offense against Lord Rudra, and also the insult that was done, how Shiva was insulted and how Daksha spoke about Lord Shiva. So she says it may be Lord Shiva, Lord Rudra, who has got angered, and he dances at the time of destruction, throwing about the tuft of his matted hair and extending his banner like arms equipped with uplifted weapons. When the Lord of Elephants presiding over the quarters are pierced by the prongs of his trident, and the quarters rent with his thunder like pearls of laughter. He will assume unbearable proportions, that is Lord Shiva. and a whole group of constellations is scattered by his frightful teeth. Having angered him, can anyone fare well, even if the individual provoking him is the creator himself? So that's the last line of the 11th shloka. Karaladamshtra bhirudasta bhaganam Karaladamshtra bhirudasta bhaganam syat Swasti kim kopayato vidhatuhu. Swasti kim. How can that person fare well? Even if that person is vidhata, vidhatuhu means that. Meaning that Prajapati, the Lord of all Prajapatis, is Daksha now. It may be him also, but who can stand up against the anger of Lord Shiva? It was only Prasuti and some of those who felt sad for Sati's immolation who came up with this thought process, this thought that maybe this is not maybe, this is the result of Sati's immolation and anger of Lord Shiva. It doesn't strike Daksha and the other devatas and the rishis there. This is called selfishness. How much selfishness will blind us that we become completely insensitive to what is wrong, number one. Number two, the suffering we are causing because of our selfishness to people, to others. We become blinded. We can't see that, the suffering that we cause. And then the result that is born out of that suffering, that the person who is getting affected by this wrong acts of ours, they will some way come back to us. But then we feel, oh, we got caught unaware. We were unaware because of the ego. Our ego was taking for one royal ride. So that is what happens. That is the selfishness, how it destroys us. And we think selfishness is required to protect ourselves. That's how the world works. Dharma is required to protect ourselves. And strength in that dharma and invoking that inner strength of dharma is required to protect ourselves, not selfishness. Selfishness cannot protect us. It can only weaken us. It can make us insensitive. It can make us blinded. It can make us completely unaware of what can happen, because we are lost in ourselves only. We have no time to think about anyone else and the impact of our actions on others and their responses and none of that. Selfish people can't think all that. So here it is, Daksha is not able to think. Now, when all this is happening in Devaloka, in the subtle realms, on the earth also many ill omens have started manifesting. Now Daksha got scared. Oh God, now what is this now? Because one doesn't know what is the real cause. One is only seeing dust and one is seeing ill omens. By this time, all those Ganas and Virabhadra, they all have come. Now look at that whole description which is given here. The followers of Rudra, armed with various uplifted weapons and very mere and were dwarfish in stature, some red, brown, other tawny of hue, and had bellies and faces resembling those of an alligator. They ran up in all directions and surrounded that spacious sacrificial ground. Some broke the beam resting on the eastern and western pillars of the sacrificial hall, while others destroyed the apartment reserved for the wives of the sacrificer and the priests, as well as the assembly hall in front of the sacrificial hall, the cottage where clarified butter and other substances were poured into the sacrificial fire are stored, the hut occupied by the sacrificer himself, and the kitchen means full, destroyed the entire place. Some smashed the sacrificial vessels and extinguished the sacred fires, others urinated in the sacrificial pits and snapped the cotton threads, making the boundaries of the sacrificial dais. Some molested the hermits, while others threatened the wives, and still others seized the divinities who were sitting close to them, all these devatas, even though they tried to run away. Now Maniman bound sage Bhrigu, because the sage Bhrigu will again put the offering in Dakshinagni and again create these ribhus. Before he can do that, Maniman caught him, bound him. Virabhadra caught Daksha himself. Chandisha, he caught this devata called Pusha, and Nandishwara caught Bhaga. Remember this Pusha and Bhaga. If you remember, when Lord Shiva was insulted by Daksha, this Pusha smiled with his teeth, and this Bhaga with his eyes, he was showing his joy through his eyes. Now, all those who offended Lord Shiva, they were caught. And one by one, you look at what happens now. So these stones were being thrown, the officiating priests, all of those people assembled there, they all were running, the devatas, they were running in different directions. So Virabhadra, he pulled out the mustache and the beard of Bhrigu Rishi. Because Bhrigu Rishi only poured all those oblations and created the Ribhus and bet up the Pramathaganas. He may be Bhrigu Rishi, we may say he's a great Rishi, and this may be a Leela he has done. That is one standpoint one can take. But as a part of the Leela, Danda also is got. Or if we say that no, Bhrigu Rishi was a Rishi who still was not enlightened, so there must be some ego and some impurities in the mind. So he supported Daksha and offered the Agni, Dakshinagni oblations, and then all these Ribhus came out. So then he's getting karma phala of that. Either ways, it is proper. So the beard of this Bhrigu Rishi, it was pulled out, the mustache was pulled out, and then Bhaga, with his eyes, he was showing his joy and jubilation and all that. So the eyes of Bhaga are removed. So if you know the 108 names of Lord Shiva, in that Lord Shiva's names are these: Bhaganetrabhid and Pushadantabhid, one who has gouged out the eyes of Bhaga and one who destroyed the teeth of Pusha. Because Pusha gleamed in joy and with his teeth he was showing to all people. So that's what happened. So Bhaga's eyes were plucked out. As much as he had in the assembly, countenanced Daksha in his calumniation of Lord Shiva by blinking. Even as Lord Balram knocked down the teeth of the king of Kalingas during the wedding of Aniruddha, so Virabhadra dashed off the teeth of Pusha, who had laughed showing his teeth while Shiva was being vilified by Daksha. So Bhrigu Rishi got his karma phala, this Pusha also got, and this Bhaga also got. Then setting his foot on Daksha's chest, knocking him down, Virabhadra cut off his head with this sharp-edged weapon, but failed to sever it then. So the head is cut, but it's not fully severed from the body. Now, he was filled with great wonder when he found that no weapon or missile could even cut Daksha's skin that way, and he pondered for a long time that what is happening? Why is Daksha's head not getting cut? Then he understood that, okay, how should it be cut? Like an animal is sacrificed, in that way he has to be sacrificed. So from here, behind, finished, behind the neck. So Virabhadra severed the head of Daksha from his body in the same way, treating the sacrificer as an animal to be sacrificed. Slaughtered, finished. Now there arose a shout of applause from the ghost spirits, the finds, who extolled that achievement of Virabhadra, while others who were belonging to Daksha's side, they raised and they cried and they felt sorrowful Now, full of anger, Virabhadra destroyed the head of Daksha completely by offering it into the fire, into that same Dakshinagni. That same Dakshinagni from where all these ribhus came out, into that this head of Daksha was put. So burnt fully. And setting fire to that entire sacrificial edifice, he left for Mount Kailas. This is the destruction of Daksha's sacrifice. Now what happens? That we will see in our next class. Any questions for today? All right, so let's do the arati. Okay, so there is one question. Yes, Garimaji.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Can you explain a little bit on what do we mean when we say he was a Rudra?
So the main form of Lord Shiva is actually, he is called Rudra. Bhagavan is called Rudra. That's why when the when the Abhishek is done of Lord Shiva, that time we chant the Rudram Chamakam. That Rudram Chamakam starts with that Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, because Lord Shiva is in connection to the creation, the world, he is the destroyer. So Brahmaji creator, Vishnu Bhagavan sustainer, Lord Shiva is the destroyer. So the destroyer form of Lord Shiva is called Rudra. And from him, he created this Virabhadra as an Amsha. So Virabhadra also is a Rudra because he is an Amsha of main Rudra. So that's why Virabhadra also is called Rudra and Bhagavan is also Rudra. That's the meaning.
Swamiji, just one question. Why Bhrigu Rishi, he was the priest for the yagna, right? But there are lots of rishis. Why only Bhrigu Rishi is so much mentioned in this particular thing? Is there any other reason? Because this thing is based on dharma. So is it also based because Bhrigu Rishi had gone and kicked Vishnu Bhagwan or something like that? Is there anything behind this? Or is just like one of the names?
No, so that Leela is different, this Leela is different. So there is no connection between these two Leelas as such. Let me check if there is any other reason. At the moment, I don't know if there is any other reason. I will find out. If there is any other reason, I will come back to you.
Okay.
Swamiji,
Hanji.
we don't consider suicide to be the right way of showing anger or water. So how come, I mean, she's setting a bad example, no, by killing herself.
Correct. So the point to understand is this. Good question you brought up. Now, why does a person commit suicide? Because there is a personal either pain or sorrow or some situation one cannot handle, some insult, something. There is something one has taken very personally and one has given up or one is depressed or whatever. It's an ego prompted decision. At the end of the day, suicide is an ego prompted decision, number one. Number two, it is not acceptable in the scripture because one doesn't get human body easily. And when will one get the next human body, one doesn't know. And this suicide is an act of violation against that blessing of a human body. There are challenges, there are difficulties. Suicide is anyway not an answer. That's the third reason, because even if you try to escape from this situation, the karma will not leave you. So you cannot, so it's a waste. You have wasted an entire opportunity of a human body, because that karma which one tries to escape from will anyway catch up with you wherever you are in the next janma, or whichever janma it has to catch up, it will catch up. So suicide as an escape is what one wants to do. It's not effective at all, because you just cannot escape karma. None of this will apply to Sati's episode. Sati did not immolate herself out of personal anger, grief, or anything. Sati did not waste a human opportunity for evolution, and Sati is not doing this to escape from some problem that she cannot face. So Sati's act is actually not called suicide. Sati's act is willfully giving up the body. That's why through Yoga Agni, look at the amount of power and concentration of mind that is required to do this consciously, to eject out of the body. This conscious ejecting out of the body is sanctioned by the scriptures. Even great yogis will do it, who have realized absolute truth, who find the body is now worthless. Like how we go to a destination, let us say we go from here to Jaipur in flight. We will leave the flight because we have reached Jaipur. Now I don't need the flight anymore. Why will I keep sitting in that flight? So many yogis, when they realize the absolute truth, they will consciously eject out of the body, saying, "Bas, done, nothing more to do, finished, gone." So that is not called suicide. That is willfully giving up the body because of the higher purposes. So it's not a suicide.
Okay, Swamiji, thank you.
मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति धूम की, मंगल कांति हसनी दसनन की, मंगल मुरली दीना धुन की, मंगल आरती। मंगल बनिक त्रिभंगी हरि की, मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की, मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की, मंगल छवि नयन में अटकी, मंगल आरती। पभी अंग अंग की, मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की, मंगल अति कटि पियरे पट की, मंगल चितमणि नागर नट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल शोभा कमल नयन की, मंगल माधुरी मृदुल पैन की, मंगल वृंदावन मद अटकी, मंगल क्रीडन जमुना तट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल चरण अरुण तरुवन की, मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन की, मंगल जुगल प्रिया बावन की, मंगल श्री राधा जीवन की, मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति डोल की, मंगल आरती। मंगल आरती। राधा वर कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम्, नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतो यम् अग्निः, तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं, तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।